Hey fight fans, it's Kimber Schaefer here with Rage in the Cage OKC News, and Rage in the Cage 81 is coming your way Saturday, June 19th at the Oklahoma City Farmers Market Event Center, and I am in the middle of Whiskey Nights doing pre-fight interviews, and right here I've got with me Keagan Davidson. This is your second time fighting for Rage in the Cage, and it ended up pretty well, I would say, the first time around. You are 1-0 as a fighter. Walk me through that first fight and the victory and how you felt getting in the cage until the end.
Yeah, the very first one, I mean, it was nerve-wracking, you know, getting down there, getting warmed up, and that first walk, there's something about it, you know, your adrenaline's pumping, you're nervous, then once you get in there, all of it kind of just settles, you know, and then we came out there, ended up getting the W, and it was a pretty good feeling, you know, all the hard work I put into the camp and everything else like that, ended up coming out with a W. It felt pretty good.
What about that moment? I mean, honestly, I've heard fighters say that the minute that cage door, they hear that clanking sound, and they know it's just me and my opponent. Did you have an adrenaline dump, or all your preparation just came into place?
No, see, I came in there, I didn't really have any kind of adrenaline dump, but whenever it got real for me was, I think, middle of the first round, he caught me with a good right, and that's whenever it really kicked in, hey, it's time to go.
So let's talk about your training leading up to that moment, though. What prepared you for that?
Man, just constant working on our hands, foot movement, and everything like that. And then, of course, I've got my wrestling to back it up if the stand-up fails.
Talk about your wrestling then. You're leading into my next question. What was your background in wrestling and your accomplishments in that?
Yeah, so I wrestled for maybe 6-7 years for Sulphur, had a great coach. Started out, you know, not very great, but just like as anything goes, you know, the more you do it, the better you get. I ended up qualifying for state my senior year, all stated. So, I mean, it was a good career. I had scholarship, or I had offers to go to college, but unfortunately life didn't take me that way, so yeah, I had a pretty decent career.
So, and that's how the story goes a lot as far as MMA. The wrestling backgrounds really play so well into the mixed martial arts and getting into the cage. And so once you ended that wrestling career, you won at state. That pretty much, did you feel like this has to be my next step?
Not at first, no. I actually went straight to work. This was never really an idea that popped into my head until I was sitting there one day, and just there was a hole inside, like I felt like I was missing. Of course, that hole would be the competition, the wrestling, and so I decided to try MMA out, and you know, I'm running with it.
What gym did you step foot in? Because I know you had to make that decision in the beginning.
Yeah, so whenever I very first started, I started out in Ada, Oklahoma at Conquer BJJ.
And where are you training now?
Now I'm training under Spartan Fit MMA and Gym 365 in Kanawha.
In Kanawha. Well, I hadn't been to either one of those, so tell me a little bit about what you guys offer there.
Well, okay, so in Gym 365 in Kanawha, I just started up a wrestling program coaching, beginner, intermediate, advanced, no matter what. You can come check it out. We've also offer, I know Ezra has a class going on, I'll let him talk about that. Then plus we have weightlifting, anything that you need there. So I mean, it's a pretty cool gym to come check out if you ever get the time.
Okay, so how far away is that from Oklahoma City?
From Oklahoma City, it's maybe an hour.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, not at all.
Okay, it's worth the drive. You have open gyms?
Not at the moment, we don't, but we're definitely trying to start branching out and see how many people we can get in there, so it may be coming.
Okay, well, sounds great. So let's focus on Rage in the Cage 81 now. This is going to be your second fight. You've kind of got that feel of the cage. What are you looking to accomplish?
Man, I'm looking to accomplish staying on my feet, being a lot better striker. I know this cage is going to be the bigger cage. The last time I fought, I know it was in the smaller one. So this big one is going to be more of cage control, trying to find a center and definitely standing on our feet, seeing what we can get done there.
You know, I'll be interested to hear your perspective on the difference in fighting in the original Rage in the Cage, and now we've got the huge one, which I think is like 20 by 20 or something. So it's a big difference. You've got a lot more ground to cover, and just how that plays into your fight game. So hopefully I remember to ask you that at the end of the fight night. If I don't, remind me.
Oh, I will.
Sounds good. So anything else about you that I didn't mention that you want the fight fans out there to know?
Well, we're going to keep this undefeated streak alive.
What's your long-term goals?
Long-term goal right now, I'm actually trying to get a belt in the AMU division and then possibly go pro and see where it takes me from there.
Okay. Well, I love that. I love that. I enjoy watching fighters start where you did as a debut for Rage in the Cage, and it never fails in the audience at a Rage in the Cage event. We've got somebody that went all the way to the UFC sitting in our audience or cornering a fighter. So, and you just never know where they're going to come from. Sometimes they're out-of-state fighters even. So, well, we thank you so much. Any shout-outs or anything before we wrap it up?
Yeah, shout out to my coach, Chris Vereen. Shout out to Spartan Fit MMA. And big shout out to Gym 365 in Conoway.
All right, well, thank you so much. Hey, fight fans, don't forget, get your tickets now, get them early, because as you know, Rage in the Cage events sell out. If you don't get your hands on a ticket, of course, you can always catch us on Fight TV. Rage in the Cage 81 coming your way Saturday, June 19th at the Oklahoma City Farmers Market Event Center. And of course, as always, you get tickets at stubware.com, and we hope to see you there. We will rage it up yet another notch.